So many people have poured into room 1002, right? And there are people who have watched the platform grow who are like, okay, now I'm ready. It's my turn. And now the girl is like, she ain't doing interviews no more. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Songbird. I want to welcome y'all back to part two of my three-part series. Just welcoming y'all to the new season, but also just kind of checking back in. If you didn't have an opportunity to watch part one, I think that you should go back and check it out. I shared a lot of things, and this part two may not make sense to you if you don't go back and watch part one. So I know that we kind of left off in part one, just talking a little bit about the break that I took last year, really putting the microphone down, putting room 1002 down as a whole, and really just trying to get some kind of understanding of where I was headed. So those first couple of days were really hard. I genuinely felt like I was quitting on my gift, on the thing that God gave me. Like I mentioned in part one, I feel like I was quitting on my community. So many people have poured into room 1002, right? And there are people who have watched the platform grow who are like, okay, now I'm ready. It's my turn. And now the girl is like, she ain't doing interviews no more. I had to turn down a lot of people. Um, and it was so funny. Like every time I got invited out, I would get dressed, do my makeup, which is no small feat because y'all know I don't know how to do no makeup. By the way, this right here I did do. Shout out to that girl on TikTok who bullied me into learning how to do my makeup. You a real one. But I would get dressed, I would do my makeup, and I would sit on my couch and I would wait for the hour to come where I'm supposed to leave my house, and I just couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. And the crazy thing is I was in transition, right? I moved into my place last March. But I moved in and immediately had to go on a work trip like the next day or 2 days after, which was so silly now that I think about it. Why would I do that? But it took me a while to actually even get settled in my place. So I'm like, listen, I'm in transition anyway. They'll understand. But I never actually sat down and thought to myself, like, maybe you should tell them. I mean, I thought about it. Let me not lie and say that I didn't think about it, but I'm like, bro, I don't have to explain myself, or at least that's what I thought. And I mean, I still think that that statement reigns true in certain circumstances. You do not owe people anything, especially when you feel like God is telling you to sit down. I actually had gone to um, a conference hosted by my friend Kalia, and I brought it up in the room. Right, this is a conference for young women, particularly Christ believing women, and we're all just like sharing things and talking about what we do for a living and blah 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 blah. And I kind of was just asking for prayer for my podcast. Like, I feel real lost. I can feel the Lord tugging on my heart. I can feel God telling me I need to make some changes, but I don't know how to do that and still be real. I don't know how to do that and still be authentic. I don't know how to do that and shut the door to all the people who I know would benefit from being on my platform. And I'll never forget, it was Dacia Lewis. um, she actually told me not to. She told me to take my time to figure out what that looks like, but not to give up on it completely. And so I always knew that I would come back, right? So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just need a month off. Maybe I just need 3 weeks. Maybe I need 2 months. Maybe after the summer. And it's funny, y'all. Listen, JD is so patient. JD is so patient because every month I'll be like, okay, yeah, so next month we're going to do this interview. We're going to go to this event and da-da-da. Y'all, he in the background right now talking about, because he knows that I was giving him the straight run around, okay? And I was not trying to. I genuinely kept feeling like I'm ready. And then when it was time, I'm like, I'm still not ready. I'm sorry. Listen, if you have ever been there, please don't leave me hanging. Please comment and tell me if you've ever just genuinely like your team is like, girl, you got one more time and you ain't gonna have no team. Okay, you got one, just one. I'm only giving you one more. Y'all, he's trying his hardest not to laugh out loud back there behind his camera. But so every month it would come around. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this interview. We're gonna go to this show. I got invited to this, then the third. I know of so and so. I'm so tired of fixing this little shirt here, y'all. I really am. We're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do that, and we would just never do it. And it wasn't because I wasn't ready. It wasn't because he wasn't ready. It was because I wasn't ready. And so when I really just kind of told JD, like, look, I need some time. I need some real time. By now it's like July, So keep in mind, I think I did maybe my last episode in March, somewhere around there. It might have even been in February. It just probably got put out in March. or maybe April. I don't want to lie. It might have been around April-ish, somewhere around there. But by now it's like July. I have zero desire to do it, zero interest in doing it, but I'm afraid to admit that because that means that I actually have to stop doing it. So, during that time, I really just tried to work on myself. I spent a lot of time just asking God like what he wants from me, cuz I'm no stranger to understanding that every gift that we are giving comes from God. And sometimes we try to use them in a way that God may not have ordained or planned for us. And so it's funny, I never felt like I wasn't supposed to do Room 1002. But like I said and mentioned in part one, please go back and watch part one if you have not watched it. I wasn't sure how to do it anymore. It started to feel like just, I don't know, like grabbing at just nothing, honestly. Um, felt like I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. And to be real with y'all, that's not even what I wanted Room 1002 to be. I never wanted Room 1002 to just be like this super like formal studio, kind of vibe. When I first started it, I loved meeting people where they were. I literally started it on a cell phone, like very humble beginnings. And so it was very hard for me to put it down. But while I put it down, I asked myself over and over and over again, what do you actually like about doing Room 1002? And a lot of that, I really had to like think about it. Like, I love to talk and I've always wanted to do a podcast. And if I'm being real with y'all, I have a million and one podcast ideas. Like, I want to do like movie reaction podcasts, like TV show reaction podcasts. Like, girl, did you see that new movie? What did you think about it? And give my opinions because I'm an opinionated person. But outside of just liking to hear myself talk, because that's very vain, what do you like about doing Room 1002? And I realized I love building community and uplifting other people. That is my purpose. That's literally my purpose. And so when I realized, like, okay, well, if that's your purpose, then you need to figure out how to operate in that while staying true to what you believe to be morally right and wrong. Um, that is going to yield the best results for Room 1002. But I spent a lot of days crying, just feeling like I'm quitting. I was really worried about what y'all were going to think. Like, she been doing this for a couple of years now, and ain't nobody heard from her, seen her. She don't come out. What's over her? I really was concerned that I was going to lose um, all of the momentum that I had built, all the fans, the people who just loved me and wanted to be a part of it. And so, y'all, I spent time watching other podcasts. I spent time being a part of other people's podcasts. I spent time just reinventing myself. I did a whole podcast workshop just learning about like what does it really take, and one of the things that they talked to us about was doing discovery. Because one of the other things that kind of had me discouraged about Room 1002 is that I don't have a very big platform. And that, I don't know if that's pride or if that's just, the way the world kind of tells you things should be. Like, if you've been doing it X amount of time, it should be bigger by now. You should have more subscribers. You should have more followers. More people should be watching, right? So I went and did that podcast workshop, and one of the things that they told us was to do discovery. Find out, first of all, who you actually want to watch your podcast or tune into your podcast, because you may not actually be catering to your audience. You might even think that you're catering to your audience, and those might not even be the people that really need to watch your show. And also ask the people what they want. And that was something that I hadn't done in a while. I know in the beginning I used to like ask for suggestions and, kind of do different polls and things like that. But I stopped being engaged with the audience, and I just kind of started doing what I thought you guys wanted to see. Like, I mean, I started off on the phone, so now I should move to a camera. Okay, I started off doing different sets. Now I should move to a studio. But in actuality, nobody was in my comments like, girl, these backgrounds suck. You need a studio. Girl, that camera quality is, you know what I'm saying? Nobody was actually saying those things. I think that I was just in my own head. So during this break, during this time off, I spent a lot of time just reevaluating, like, what do I love about Room 1002? What kept me going in the beginning when it was just me? and I didn't have anybody else, and I couldn't lean on anybody else, and there wasn't anybody else's opinions that I even had to really consider. And, I even just started thinking about how I went through that time period feeling like I don't make any money off of this and da 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 da. But in actuality, I didn't start it for any of those purposes or any of those reasons. And so while I put it down, you guys, I had an opportunity to really just re-explore what Room 1002 can be. And man, some wonderful things came out of that. If I'm being real with y'all, it was tough though. Um, it was lonely too. Just watching everybody else around me keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? Like even my videographer, like watching him just keep going against all odds. Like he has put on very large productions where the community didn't appreciate it. They didn't come out and really show the love that he deserved, but he never let any of that stuff stop him. And so I even just kind of felt like overall, like I'm like, everybody is probably side eyeing me right now. And I was in my head a lot. So when I started to get out of my head, you guys, the ideas started to flow. The passion started to come back. I felt so like antsy about it. And that's why I was really looking forward to doing that New Year's Eve episode and sharing everything that I'm sharing with y'all now in that episode. Just like, yo, 2024 was a doozy, but we back and we better. You know what I'm saying? And so I was really, really, really looking forward to doing that episode. And unfortunately, we didn't get to end the year the way that I wanted to. But I'm very glad to be back. And I think that this is going to be very productive. I'm very excited to share some new things with you guys. But unfortunately, you're going to have to watch part 3 for that. Honestly, I really just want to go back down memory lane and kind of talk y'all through how I got my passion back. What little nuances and episodes and moments just helped me get back to who I am as Songbird, really recenter, refocus, and get back excited about this thing, man. And man, it's crazy. Y'all really stuck by me and believed in me. Like, so many people were writing me, take your time, encouraging me, sharing old content. And that means a lot because y'all kept Room 1002 visible even when I had nothing else new to share. I'm like, I ain't got nothing new for y'all, so don't really know what to say about that. But one thing I can say, and I do want to give her a shout out. Listen, man, if y'all have never worked with Jatara, if you have never worked with Jatara, you are missing out. Serious gold is being produced through her fingers. You hear what I'm saying? That girl revamped this podcast. Because let me tell y'all something. When I started Room 1002, I just got on some random little website and tried to make a logo. Listen, broke is a joke. Okay, I'm not playing. I didn't have no money to be paying nobody to make a logo. I went and just made the most random logo. I mean, I feel like for the time being, it fit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't just gonna poop on my little logo that I did. But she helped me to revamp it. And even that was just a big part of that shift where I felt like, okay, we're going somewhere with this. We're about to do something, and it's really about to be great. And so I love all these new graphics. I love the new logo variations, and I just love the way she has poured into Room 1002. And she also is responsible for the cover art for the podcast on the audio streaming platforms as well. So listen, I'm going to tag her obviously below, but I really want to encourage you guys, if any of you have a brand and it needs some revamping, that is the person that I would highly recommend. But yeah, like I said, you guys, make sure you come back for part 3 because I'm really excited to tell y'all about 2025, what's up ahead. Man, I have not been this excited in so long. It's so crazy. God is just so good and faithful, man. I've been praying about this so hard, and I am enamored, honestly. So, anyway, once again, make sure y'all like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me some feedback in the comments. Y'all know I'm always willing to answer any questions. Yeah, I'll see y'all next week, man. Stay tuned for more. Peace.